Do you know about the new Dodge Hellcat of 2023? If not, then brace yourselves as we are about to go on a ride that will keep your adrenaline pumping. Today we are going to talk about an absolute beast, the Dodge Challenger SRT Hellcat. An absolute nightmare that is morphed into the shape of an unapologetically loud and fast car that defies speed itself. No, that is not an exaggeration. The Dodge Challenger SRT Hellcat is America's last authentic muscle car. While the tale of muscle cars is long forgotten in history, this car brings the rush and authenticity of the 90s. The build of muscle cars is quite simple. You learn the basics and put them together, and within a minute, you have a car whose engine is a devil itself and speed that is unparalleled. This beefy monster is built the same way. It has a not-so-pricey American coupe, a rear-wheel drive, and most importantly, the bulkiest and devilish V8 anyone can ever find in this world. Which particularly in this case is a 6.2-liter supercharged Hemi and cramp it in the engine. And there you go. You get a monster dragon that spits out smoke and fire. So let's start with talking about all the features in detail. The most fascinating thing about this car is that it has 2 keys. And why is that exactly? Let's find out. The keys. The most prominent feature is that the driver gets to have 2 keys. One of them is a bit tame and the other one is for your inner demons. The black key is relatively tame and it gives access to about 500 horsepower, while the other key is red, which suits its devilish speed straight out of hell. The red key unlocks the true rage of the Hellcat and gives it a whopping 717 horsepower. It is much like a superhuman reference. The black key is like Clark Kent, while the red key is in full Superman mode. 717 amount of horsepower is surely more than enough speed one might need and will surely feel like superhuman. The features of this monster breed. Now let's move on to the looks of this piece of work. The Hellcat is designed in a way that is attractive and demands attention. Whenever a Hellcat is going near you, you would know since it loves to scream. The big and intimidating exterior of this car is perfect with its approach to speed. The Dodge Challenger SRT Hellcat is based on the standard Challenger design, which is iconic in its sense. The thing that makes this Hellcat different is that its bulky body is synonymous with its reputation of being a muscle car. This model comes with an extra $6,000 wide body parts and packs for the wheel arches. Its design includes the signature belt line, which is meant to stay flat, but it can change position if a high kick is meant toward the rear. The fuel cap is placed at a dominant spot to give off a powerful mouth to this beast. It also has a 3D Hellcat badge which shows off its class. It has unique alloys wrapped in 305/35ZR20 Pirelli P0 type tires. They are called the Devil's Rim. The front is what gives off this car a bloodthirsty monster look. The front grills give the Challenger Hellcat an aggressive look at the top. The bonnet consists of twin snorkel intakes that feed the air directly into the air filter. Lifting the bonnet unravels the 2.4-liter supercharger, and this one loves to scream. Another thing of crucial importance is the overhang from the bonnet. This potentially gives a way bulkier tone to the posterior than anything else. All these features give the front end of a Hellcat a monster-like face. It looks like a beast with a large grin and annoying eyes looking at the world. And talking about the rear, the spoiler consists of all rectangles to the lights at the exhaust tip. The interior. The interior of this car is much like the other ones. To be honest, Hellcat is not even trying to be fancy like the other cars. It is just trying to preserve the authenticity of muscle cars. There are a few nice touches here and there. The passenger seats can be in full black or even brown leather coated. The seats are nice and spacious, allowing comfortness. At the back, there are 2 air vents and 2 stages of rear seat heating. It also includes 2 USB ports and a drive shaft hub. The front seats also have a lot of room to allow for easy and relaxed sitting. The chairs are heat insulated as usual. And a cool feature is that the Hellcat also includes an additional sunroof feature for about $2,000. The Hellcat also has 16.4 cubic feet of the trunk, which can accommodate a lot of luggage and other commodities. Now comes the fun part. Let's find out how much of a beast this car is. The Screaming Nightmare. The one hell of a beast gives off an alien-sounding scream when fully enraged. The whining of the supercharger combined with the groaning of the V8 and an obnoxiously loud exhaust gives off a scream no one has ever heard before. The car feels like a monster screaming in rage when unleashed in its natural habitat, which is the roads. Before we find out about the performance of this road rage vehicle, like this video and comment down below on what video should we make next. Subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Now let's move on. The performance of the Hellcat. The performance of this car also depends heavily on its weight, which is about 2 tons. This car has devilish speed and can go from 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds. The speed of this car is insane and it loves to spin around. Even 1 second of distraction will make this beast go wild and it will become hard to control. As for this price, the Dodge Challenger SRT Hellcat costs about 90,000 pounds. But a car that gives 700 plus horsepower is unlikely to be this price. So this is the best deal you could get at buying a monster that unleashes 700 plus horsepower. Is Hellcat the last muscle car left? Due to its classical muscle car features and its engine that is built the same way a 90s muscle car was made. While the Ford Mustang is a mixture between a muscle car and a sports car, Dodge tends to stay in the only category of being a true muscle car. It seems as if today's car companies are forgetting the difference between a sports car and a muscle car. Many companies are mixing up the concepts of sports and muscle cars, which ultimately leads to creating a blur between the concept of these two kinds of cars. This is why Dodge is considered a true muscle car, as it does not move around and tries to merge different concepts of cars at once. The second most prevalent reason why companies are quitting to adopt the true manufacturing of muscle cars is the engine. The engine is what makes a muscle car such a beast. But now companies are downsizing their engines due to the large amounts of toxic emissions. This increase and the public demand for environment conservatory cars have caused companies to quit the old and true way of manufacturing a muscle car. This only leaves Dodge as the sole contender for an expert muscle car manufacturer. And let's be honest, no company would ever try to make a car with 700 plus horsepower with massive amounts of emissions ever again. Even Dodge itself will not take such a bold step. This probably concludes why the Dodge Challenger SRT Hellcat is the last authentic muscle car left. Sure, this might not be the best car out there in the world, and there may be cars that are more sophisticated than this one. But the Hellcat stands out from the rest as it is not competing with other cars. While other brands are racing their cars, this wild monster is too busy spinning in its direction. And even if cars like this are not manufactured again, at least we can appreciate the monstrosity of this car and savor it to the last while we can. It would not be a stretch to say that the Hellcat is a furious beast and is the only authentic muscle car left in America, at least in our opinion. You simply cannot beat a raging bull in a fight, and that's what a Hellcat is. And that is it for today. Thanks for watching. Bye!